Hey guys, and welcome back to another tutorial. This time we're going to be looking at suspension. Now, changing the suspension settings in your car can affect the car's handling, whether it be oversteer or understeer. Hopefully give you guys a better understanding of how to set the base levels for your suspension settings as well before you start fine tuning. For this one we're going to be using the 2005 Ford GT, and hopefully by the end of this guys you're going to find this useful and you can give this a go for yourselves. Okay, let's get started. Okay, here we are at Maple Valley. So for this first part of the test we've got the front suspension set to the minimum and the rear suspension set to the maximum. I'm going to take the first corner and we're going to see what happens with the car. As we turn in, get a good turn in, but then we start getting a lot of oversteer. So from this, having the front suspension lower than the rear suspension gives you oversteer. And for this one, same corner again, same track. This time we've got the front suspension setting at the maximum level and the rear at the minimum level. We're going to turn in. The turning is not quite as good, not quite as crisp. And then as we're turning, we're getting understeer as well. So by having the front suspension at a lower level than the rear suspension, you get oversteer, and vice versa, having the rear suspension lower than the front suspension, you get understeer. You can use this information to help tweak the car by raising or lowering the front suspension or the rear suspension rates to try and fine tune the handling and hopefully make the car a bit more balanced around the corners. So you guys are probably wondering, where the hell do I start on setting my suspension levels? A good place to have a look is here for the car for the information. So from this you can see the weight is 3,288 pounds, and the majority of the weight on the rear of the car, we've got 57% on the rear. So from this we can tell straight away that the rear suspension levels will need to be set slightly higher than the front suspension levels, as the car is heavier on the back end. So you can see what I've done here with my suspension settings. You set the front to 600 and the rear to 700. This is what I'm going to use for a base setting. I'm going to run a lap round Maple Valley. So here we are, we've got the telemetry up. I'm going to show you what the suspension is doing as we drive around. You'll be able to see how the car handles, how it is on corner entry and corner exit, as well as braking and accelerating. So if you're wondering where to start off with your suspension levels, then there's a few things you need to remember. If you've got a spring rate that is too soft, the car will feel mushy, sloppy and unresponsive, and it will affect all three phases of braking. That's the braking, accelerating and the cornering. If you've got springs that are too soft, it will cause the nose of the car to scrape the road under heavy braking. It will cause the car to bottom out when you're going over rough roads, and also cause the suspension to droop excessively when you're driving over undulating road surfaces. If you've got stiff suspension, this helps reducing body roll, makes braking more crisp and gives the driver increased feel and responsiveness to steering inputs. The car will also transfer weight faster in the corners, as well as front to rear under power and back to front under brakes. However, if you've got your suspension settings too stiff, you'll end up with a car that is twitchy. You've got a harsh and choppy ride, the car will feel unstable and there's a good chance it will slide a lot more. It will be difficult to put the power down as you're coming out the corner, and it will be difficult to get the car to turn in on corner entry. Also, your spring settings will affect how your car handles when you go over curbs. That's along with the bump and rebound settings, but I'm going to be getting onto that in a later tutorial. The softer the suspension you've got, the easier and better you'll be able to take the curbs. The stiffer one, you'll get a lot more of a rough ride. So guys, that pretty much brings this suspension tutorial to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have, give me a like. Share or subscribe to my channel. Love reading your comments guys and find out how you guys are getting on. In future tutorials we're going to be looking at the bump and the rebound settings. I know that's going to be something that you guys are going to enjoy quite a lot, because it's one of the more difficult aspects to tuning, and hopefully I've got something that's going to help you. So until next time guys, thanks a lot.